Hey everybody, it's Caitlin, your geeky girlfriend, and this is a very special YouTube exclusive video. So if you are watching this, welcome to my page. I'm your geeky girlfriend, and anytime we see this lovely face on screen, you know we're going to be talking about our favorite girl, Taylor Swift. Hey. So, before we get into today's video, this is a very special video. This is actually a re-record of one of the very first Taylor Swift episodes that we did. And unfortunately, when we recorded it the first time, YouTube would not allow it to be uploaded. So, we're trying it again, and we're back at it. And if you have been following our SwifTea series, then you know that when we did Red, Taylor's version, we left out a very specific song for a very special reason. And that song is, of course, All Too Well. So tonight we're going to be talking about all things All Too Well. It's going to have its own episode, and I will be posting this video to my Instagram story. There'll be a link, so if you're watching this via Instagram, thank you so much for being here, and you can always find the link to my YouTube channel in my Instagram bio. So welcome back, JC, my lovely special guest, and we are going to get right into our discussion. So when we discussed Red Taylor's version a few episodes ago, it's been a while since we've done one of these videos, but don't you fret. We have like 3 more already scheduled, so the next round of SwifTeas and Taylor Swift Lives is going to be coming very soon and very on schedule. But with the holidays and everything, we're now getting back into it. But when we did Red Taylor's version, we both agreed that if we had to pick one song out of the whole Red album that would be our favorite, we both agreed it would be All Too Well. And All Too Well kind of is in a league of its own, so we decided that it just needs to have its own episode. So, we're going to talk about all things All Too Well. We're going to talk about the original, we're going to talk about the 10-minute version, and then we're also going to talk about the short film as well, and give our reactions to that, because if you haven't seen it, there is a short film accompaniment to All Too Well, Taylor's version. And we did just do a refresher to refresh our memory about that. But let's go ahead and start with just discussion about the song itself. This is, All Too Well is one of those songs that no matter who you are, where you go, like if you are a true Swiftie, you know this song. And we actually went to a Taylor Swift event last year, and the DJ there was like, I'm gonna play a song that only true Swifties know. And as soon as that opening beat, everybody was like, wow, like going crazy, because it is just
it's a classic Swiftie song.
It is. It's well written. There's so much story there. So if you haven't already heard the story, we're gonna break this all down. We're gonna talk about who it's about. We're gonna break down the story. And in the short film kind of brought to life this story that, maybe real, maybe not real.
Yeah.
And if you didn't know, the song is about Jake Gyllenhaal. And we alluded to that in our SwifTea, but there are several, references in the song, and especially in the 10-minute version, which we'll talk about in a minute, that directly connect him to this song. Directly connect him.
Yeah.
So, I'll let you start. What are your thoughts about All Too Well overall? We're going to talk about just All Too Well as a song, and then we'll do more of, the added lyrics, and we'll talk about how the 10-minute version came to be, because I don't know if a lot of people know that whole story, so we'll talk about that. And
I think overall, All Too Well definitely is one of my top favorite Taylor Swift songs, hands down. And, there's something unique about, the original, non-10-minute version, but then there's also something really cool and special about the 10-minute version. I think it's one of those songs, and I know we've talked about this before, but, you can sing it when you're in a really good mood. You can sing it if you're feeling down, if you want something to be emotional to, or if you're,
always hits.
It always hits. And it's one of those songs, too, that, if I wasn't a Swiftie, I probably would have never heard it, so, it was never a single. and it wasn't something that you heard on the radio all the time, but it was just one of those songs that to me really stood out on the album. And then I found out like how many other people also felt the same way as me, and it's just a very universal like favorite of every SwifTea. Yeah. And it's just very deep and emotional. It tells a really, really good story about like her relationship and just like, yeah, how deeply she felt all of that.
Yeah. And I think, the story is about like a young girl who really truly feels like she is in love with this person, and he does not reciprocate. And in the original version, we didn't get a lot of the why it was, why it ended, but the 10-minute version kind of puts more of those pieces together. But again, like, we'll never know if it's real or if it's just, a fabrication or an exaggeration, which is probably how Jake feels, that it's an exaggeration of what happened. But we talked about when we were doing our red SwifTea that she was like 20 years old and he was like 32 or 33. So a very significant age difference. Yeah. And at that time, they were in two different sectors. He's an actor, Hollywood. Yeah. She's music, Nashville. Yeah. So both celebrities, both famous in their own regard, but still two totally different kind of circles. Yeah. And, this song is about her recalling the good times and then really feeling the bad times, and then kind of, I remember it all too well. Like, I remember all of it. I remember the good times. I remember the bad times. I think lyrically this song is astounding. And it only got better with the 10-minute version. Yeah. Like, even on its own, like, I think musically this song is astounding. Like, the, and then you, like, when she goes up, the music picks up, the tempo, like, it's like this really, you're, like, low here, and then it, like, it spikes up, and then it drops right back down. So, like, there is a spike. And if you think about it, which this is, like, a totally random, like, scientific, like, if you think about, like, if you were to track this song and, like, somebody's heartbeat when listening to this song, it probably is, like, like, that's how I picture it. And that's kind of, like, it's going steady, and then, whoop, something really dramatic happens. And I think it's a beautiful portrayal of a relationship. And, I mean, was the relationship perfect? No. Is any relationship perfect? No. And I think that's what makes this song so great. And the bridge of this song is just, like, no matter, like she was saying, no matter what mood you're in, no matter what time of day, you, like, even if you're falling asleep driving, try listening to All Too Well, and, like, the bridge, like, it'll wake you up. It'll pick you up.
I also really like about this song, too, is, like, I know I've mentioned this before when we've talked about All Too Well, but, like, it's getting close to the end of the song, and you think it's, like, starting to kind of calm and simmer down, and it's like, na, 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 and then it, like, picks back up, and she's like, 'cause there we are again, and I loved you so, and it, like, yes, like, right back into it.
I know. It's like it was like she was almost done, and then she was like, let's put it. Yeah. It's just, so this is a very complex song from a lyrical perspective, a storytelling perspective, and a music perspective.
Yeah. The lyrics, so good. Like, autumn leaves falling down, like, pieces into place, like...
Yeah, just like, she's describing the perfect scenario to have a relationship. And, if you don't know by now, I would say that Taylor is a hopeless romantic, and this song, like, is just her weaving together her ideal picture of falling in love. Like, I'm picturing, we're in autumn, and the leaves are falling, and it's a new relationship, and it's young, and you're running every red light, and you're, we're dancing in the refrigerator light, and, like, just all the things that, like, if you think about, like, your first relationship, or, like, if I think about starting the relationship with my husband and your partner, and you think about those moments where you're, like, you're just so, like, enamored by this person that you do almost run the red light, and, like, you do find yourself, like, dancing in the refrigerator light, and you just, like, you can't imagine life without this person. That's what the girl in this story was feeling. That's where
Yeah.
she was. She was in there, and we have to talk about the red scarf. Like, we have to talk about the red scarf. In the lyrics, she says, and I left my scarf there at your sister's house. Now, there has been several Swifties, theorists, Easter egg hunters out there that have made the connection that the red scarf was actually a metaphor for sex. Be quiet with that word, but, you know, the dirty. And the metaphor then gets stretched out even further, because then, especially when we talk about the short film and the 10-minute version, like, there's more to that. But, you know, if we look at just the original, I left my scarf there at your sister's house and you've still got it in a drawer even now. And I think it is logical. Like, when we're thinking about it as adults, we're not, it doesn't really make sense that it is a scarf. Like, it makes sense that there's more to, because why would you keep a scarf in a drawer? Unless, I mean, it's a drawer.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, and I never thought of it as anything other than a scarf, like, for a long time.
Yeah.
Until, like, probably, like, within the last year, when on social media, like, people were talking about that, and I'm like, I would have never, like, things fly over my head really easily, though,
yeah.
so.
But there are some people who really do think that it's a scarf, because they're like, where's the scarf, Jake? Where's the scarf, Jake? Get the scarf back. So it's up in the air. But I think the red scarf is a very classy metaphor for losing your virginity.
Yeah. And
truly giving your girlhood away and leaving it. The part that gets me that's weird about that, though, is it's at his sister's house, which that's the only part of that that's like, that's a little weird. But, you know, to each their own. Who am I? Who am I to judge?
I mean, we'll never know.
Right. But it could have just been to fill, you know, could have just been to make it sound better. I don't know. The cat is pestering. No. And, so the red scarf. So she leaves it. She never gets it back. And but similarly, she'll never get her girlhood back. She'll never get that piece of her back. And I think it just truly hammers in the idea that, like, she really fell. Like, this song describes a deep, deep fall into love and relationship. And, yeah, and like I said, when we talk about the short film, there's more homages and things to the red scarf. But I should have worn my All Too Well sweatshirt for this. I didn't even think about it. So now let's. But yes, the you were saying the 10-minute version gets your full approval.
Yes, it does. I love it. I think actually probably my least favorite part, if we're gonna pick a least favorite part, would honestly probably be the end, where it's just like. In my hair,
yeah. I would probably agree, because I think, you know, when we think about, okay, you know, everybody's talking this up, 10-minute version, 10-minute version, 10-minute version. If you actually look at the runtime of the song when she, like, actually stops singing the verses in the chorus, it's like 9:45 or something.
Yeah.
So I fully believe that it's just fluff to make it 10 minutes, because the song is over. Like, all of those things have been playing in the background all throughout the ending segment of the song. So those things are just like filler that they were like, let's just put a few more of those in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. And I mean, I don't love the F word. I don't.
Yeah.
Like, I don't love that part. I mean, some people will be like, oh, that's the best part. But, like, I get it. You're trying to make a point. Like, you were trying to make a point, but I don't know. I liked to believe that Taylor really didn't get vulgar until the Reputation era. And then when this was released, I was like, the fact that she wrote this.
Yeah.
And there was, like, a swear word in it earlier than I thought. It did taint it a little bit. Just a little. Just a little. Still a great song. And when I I think when I went to the Era store and I like posted the video, like I took a video of All Too Well 10-minute version, obviously, because I was like on cloud 9 just to hear it played live. But okay, so anyway, like I was saying, for me, the F word was a little much just thinking about when she wrote it. But to each their own, and that's just me. That could just be me being prudish and not. But like I sing it when I hear it, and I go hard to it. But that's probably, that was what I was gonna say is probably my least favorite part.
Okay.
Yeah. Tossing me the car keys, keychain on the ground, like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't really feel like, it doesn't really fit to me. I don't know. But I know a lot of people love it, and a lot of people, that's the best part, and they love that it has the F word in it, and I don't know. Yeah. But, let's see, other thing. I love, I kept you like a secret, you kept me like an oath, or I messed this up, but, the other part, well, and we said the double cross my mind part, we have to talk about the bridge of the entire part where, oh my gosh, like I know all the words and I'm sitting here and like, say hello to Remy, everyone. Remy, really? Look at his face.
Maybe we got lost in translation.
No, it's the part about when he's meeting her dad with the jokes.
Oh, you who charmed my dad with self-effacing jokes. Sipping coffee
like you're on a late night show, but then he watched me watch the front door all night, wishing you would come, and he said it's supposed to be fun. Turning 21. Dagger.
You tell him, Scott.
The heart. Dagger to the heart. And so what really puts the pieces together about this song being about Jake Gyllenhaal is that The Moment I Knew is written, like it's confirmed that song is about Taylor's 21st birthday party. And now we're referencing that same birthday party in All Too Well 10-minute version, and they're written about the same person because one specific person did not show up to that birthday party who she really wanted to go to the birthday party. So I love that connection between the two songs because I love The Moment I Knew, and it's another great song that deserves a lot of accolades and everything that it's ever gotten. And so for the two of them to now be connected lyrically, I was like, wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And it's even included in the All Too Well short film.
It is. Yes. So let's talk about the short film. The short film was released when Taylor's version, like, All Too Well 10-minute version was one of the first songs that was, like, it was a From the Vault track. It was one of the first songs that really got a lot of headway when Red Taylor's version was re-released. And because, like we said, it had that backing of, like, people wanting this song for a really long time. So, instead of just a regular old music video, she decided to take it one step further and create a full-on short film. Now, granted, the song itself is 10 minutes, so it almost meets the criteria for being a short film length, just if she would have done a regular music video. But she, like, took it one step further, and now we have this more evolved storyline about this relationship between two people. So this short film is set with the song as the soundtrack, and you see, like, you almost ran the red because you're looking over me. You see that in the short film. You see dancing in the kitchen in the refrigerator. Like, you see the 21st birthday. You see him meeting her dad with the self-effacing jokes. You see all these things. And then also, if you've watched any of the other Red Taylor's version music videos, especially I Bet You Think About Me, and the line about, like there are a lot of lines in there that connect to this song as well, like your $1 million couch and
you grew up in a silver spoon.
And then there's a line about the friends too, and like their books, like the self-help books that I just had to read or whatever. I can't remember.
Yes, and I think that in the All Too Well short film, that's alluding to that in the scene where he drops her hand.
Yes,
that was my interpretation of that.
Correct. And so the short film starts off, you know, we're narrating this love story. So it's these two people, they're newly in love, they're in a new relationship, they're, you know, very handsy, very touchy, very affectionate, and, you know, and then it breaks it up. There's like 5 parts of the short film. So you've got the beginning, and then the first crack in the glass. They are at a dinner party with clearly his friends. She looks uncomfortable, and it was great acting on Sadie Sink's part. Like, she looks uncomfortable. She goes to reach for his hand, and he drops it. And to me, that makes a connection to Champagne Problems. My Heart Was Glass, You Dropped It. That makes that connection for me, even though that's the alternative storyline, because Champagne Problems is
about
like
her breaking his heart,
But that was the first thing that I thought of when I watched it. I was like, wow.
I've got to say, one thing that I was thinking when I was watching this short film was, like, when they were arguing in the kitchen, I'm just, like, picturing this exact argument happening between Taylor and Jake. Like,
right, yes.
Like, this was probably something that they legitimately had a fight over. Like, I could see her doing that.
Yeah.
Like, this didn't just come out of thin air. Like, this was a real issue. Like, her hanging out with his friends, her not feeling, like, a part of the group, and, like, he just kind of ignored her the whole time and, like, dropped her hand, didn't try to make her feel comfortable, and then they got back to, like, his place or whatever, and they're arguing about it because she's upset, and he's, like, basically gaslighting her, essentially, being like, I didn't do that, like, or I don't even remember that.
Yeah,
like, I was just trying to have a good time, why are you getting mad? Like,
100%.
I was just, like, picturing this happening between the two of them, because I feel like this is probably legitimately what happened.
Yeah, or something very similar.
Yeah.
Like, a little bit of artistic liberty in there, but... Yeah, and I remember when I watched the short film the first time, for some reason I felt like there was something more inappropriate in it. Like, I remember being like, oh, I'm kind of shocked that this was in it. And then watching it again, I was like, oh, that wasn't as bad. Like, I don't know if maybe the first time that I watched it, I felt like the intimacy scene was a little bit more than it was.
I feel like... I remember thinking that the first time that I watched it, too. But then I feel like this time when I watched it again, I was like, oh, I don't remember the makeout scene being that long the first time.
Yes, I felt that too.
But I also, the first time, remember thinking that there was a lot of intimate... Like, I still felt like there was a lot of intimacy, but then I don't remember the making out being that long of a scene.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, oh, man, they're really...
Yeah.
Really enjoying each other there. Because it's like a solid, like... 15, 30 seconds. And, like, of this 10, like, if you think about the span of 10 minutes, like, it's a decent amount of time.
Yeah.
I will say, and again, like, I've kind of alluded to this already, but the scene in the kitchen didn't need to be as vulgar as it was in terms of language. I felt like if this was a full feature-length film, this would be rated R. You've got the dirty, and several F words in the span of 10 minutes. So this would be, and if you think about that, and you think about, like, you know, oh, would I let my daughter watch this short film? Probably not until she was 15 or 16 at least. At least. Maybe 13, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. It would be a game time decision. It would be a... Let me see how mature you are. You know, like, it would definitely depend on my child and if I would feel comfortable. But the scene in the kitchen, for me, like, it's a very powerful scene, and I get that. But I feel like the scene is told well enough without all of the excess language, in my opinion.
I agree. No, I agree. And I think it definitely could have used way less F words. I was actually having this conversation a while back ago with someone else. Like, sometimes when that much cussing is going on in a conversation... You kind of can't focus on anything else that's being said because you're only noticing, like, that, if that makes sense.
Right.
So it's like
when it's being thrown around that much, it's like, what actually are you trying to convey? In, like, yes, they were obviously both very upset.
Very heated,
but I feel like that escalates things more. Like, at least in my own personal experience, like, in our household, we don't use language in our household, and, that was something that when I started dating my husband, I did pretty, like, I wouldn't say all the time, but I would throw them around, more casually. And my husband was like, I don't cuss, I don't like cussing, I don't think it's attractive. And I had to make that decision. Like, if I want to be with this person, this is something that I have to stop. Like, I have to stop this habit. And now we have a cuss-free household. For the most part, like, there are a few exceptions. But, you know, if I'm, like, really, really upset or something, I'll still, like, toss one out every now and again. But my husband does not. He does not curse. He's never cursed. He's never. So, I don't know. And like I said, that might make us prudes. I don't know. That might, you know, to some people that. But that's so for me. It's like it was kind of hard. Like, what are they actually fighting about? Because all I've heard is the F word. I don't actually know. Like, but in my personal experience, like if I were to cuss at my husband, I know it would elevate the situation. Yeah, it would definitely make things worse. And like, I was about to say these are two young people, but in the scenario that we're working with, he was not a young person. He was in his 30s. And it's just like, I just don't think it's a good demonstration of healthy communication. Mm-hmm. But that's not to say that that's what it was supposed to be, you know? Like, it's not to say, like, oh, yes, this is the model of every... Like, obviously, the short film was to show the flaws in the relationship. Yeah. Communication was probably one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think... I agree with you. I think it probably still could have been depicted a little better without all of that.
Yeah. Or even...
Because she does attract a young audience. So, and she always has. Like, yes, we were young and we're the generation that followed her into adulthood, but there are still young people. Mm-hmm.
There are
that listen
10,
to her.
11, 12, 13-year-olds watching this.
Yeah.
And in my mind, like, and again, I think back to, like, if it was my 10-year-old daughter, and my 10-year-old daughter's like, well, if Taylor Swift says it, then it's fine, you know? Yeah. And it's like, and no, it wasn't actually Taylor Swift saying it, because it's not her until the very end, and she doesn't even speak in the short film. So, like, some people be like, well, it's not even her, it's somebody else. But, like, her name is on it, directed and written by Taylor Swift. So, like, she wrote the script, she approved it to a certain extent, and I will be the first to admit that the older she gets, her music
is very vulgar.
It's vulgar. It's explicit.
Yeah.
Karma, like, several of the songs in Folklore and Evermore, like, there's too many to even count. Yeah. Like, I can't even list them all of how, you know, and the older she gets, she is more free-flowing with that, and her CDs have an E for explicit on them. And when you think about, like, I am as much of a SwifTea as anybody, and I love her music, and I love her writing, and as an adult, like, that's one thing. Mm-hmm. But when she does have such a young following, like, I think these are things to think about, and honestly, I'm kind of surprised that, like, cancel culture hasn't come for her for some of this. It's an interesting take. It's a hot take, because, like, she is imprinting on millions and millions of young people. Yeah. And if they're sitting, well, Taylor Swift says it, and, you know, it's a Taylor Swift song. It's a Taylor Swift song. Like, who knows what's next? Yeah. I mean, we hope it doesn't go any further than an F-bomb here. But yeah, so overall, I think the short film is something that's never been done before. Yes. For one thing. Yeah. And I, for the most part, liked it. Like, I liked the addition of the 21st birthday cake and her kind of feeling lost at that party, not really knowing. Yeah. Like, having a visual for some people, I'm sure, is very helpful. And it's nice to, like, now have a face that you can associate with this character. Because at the end of the day, it is a character. Yeah. The scarf comes back, my friends. At the end of the short film, you can see the man, or as he's known in the short film, him, standing, watching, because the short film depicts that after they break up, so the bridge of the song depicts the breakup, and then you call me up again just to bring me like a promise, so casually cruel in the name of being honest. I'm a crumpled up piece of paper lying there. It's another great lyric that is in the original that is just like, because sometimes that's how it feels. That's how it feels when you...
I do love that entire, like, line, if you will. Like, you call me up again just to break me like a promise, so casually cruel in the name of being honest. I'm a crumpled up piece of paper lying here, because I remember it all too well.
Yes, and that's
So
how it
good.
feels sometimes. You
Yeah.
just feel so crumbled up. You feel so just distraught. Don't really know like what to do, where to go. You don't, and it's a perfect metaphor. Again, perfect metaphor. But she, after the breakup, she writes a book and depicts their story, and it's called All Too Well. And then Taylor herself, 13 years later, is now selling and marketing her book that features the red scarf hanging from a tree. I have worn that hoodie in a couple of videos, and you've seen it here on the channel. It's one of my absolute favorite sweatshirts. I love it. And it's another I love it because it's like, if you know, you know. It's one of those situations, like, you have to really know this story and this song to get the reference. Like, anybody can wear an Eras Tour t-shirt and know what you're talking about, but only true SwifTeas will appreciate the All Too Well hoodie.
Yeah. I think it's really cool in this short film, too, how, like, at the very end, 13 years later, she's got this book, right? Like, she makes art out of, like, her own stories about her own life, and she's telling her story, and she's, like, making a career out of, like, using her own life scenario. So it's kind of cool because it's like, yes, that's in the short film, but that's also what's happening in her real life too, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of cool.
And, so he comes back and is watching her, and he's seeing it in the last part of the short film is called The Remembering. So, and I think that part is interesting, and because thinking about when All Too Well Taylor's version and when Red Taylor's version was getting ready to be re-released, the people in Jake Gyllenhaal's comments that were, like, trolling him and, like, asking him what he thinks about All Too Well and what he thinks about Taylor Swift and if he's nervous for the song and all this stuff, like, that's the short film, like, in his real life. Like, him in the short film is seeing all this publicity. Yeah. He's seeing their story be shared everywhere, and he's remembering it all too well. Yeah. He's forced to remember what happened. He's forced to kind of take a step back and be like, yeah, I do remember it. And I will say the guy at the end looks very strongly like Jake Gyllenhaal, even though it's not him. And Taylor looks great with red hair also.
She does. I think it's really cool that they use a redheaded actress for this short film, and yeah, I think it's so cute, but she also does look really pretty with red hair at the end.
Yeah.
So cute.
But yeah, that's it. That's what we've been waiting to talk about, and there are so many things that could be said about this song in particular, like what it means to people, the lyrics, everything. Like, there isn't a bad thing to say. There's not a bad thing.
I mean, other than the things we've already mentioned, but
and like, just with any film has critiques. Yeah. So like,
I mean, this is a fun song to scream sing too.
Oh yeah. Yes. And then you got me up again. It's great. Yes. Oh. That's
and like, Red isn't even necessarily my favorite album, but All Too Well is definitely one of my top favorite songs.
Oh yeah. So, like, if I had to pick one Taylor Swift song that I could listen to over and over again and never get tired of it, All Too Well would be a contender for sure. I don't know if it would come out on top, but it would be a contender. Now, I will say the 10-minute version, I have listened to it like 3 or 4 times in a row before. Like, and when I listened to Red Taylor's version from the vault, like the disc 2, I start with All Too Well 10-minute version, and then I listen to it all the way through, and then I end with All Too Well 10-minute version.
Solid.
Bookends. Start and end.
Oh, I love it.
And that is a great driving album because it is a long, like, it is easily an hour's worth of music, if not more than an hour. So, like, if you have a long trip, like, you could listen to it all the way through and you'd kill like an hour. And then if you do what I do, the 10-minute version, and then the 10-minute version, that's 20 minutes right there. It's 20 minutes. You're like, I'm halfway to work in that time. Like, if I listened to All Too Well 10-minute version, it would take me 4 All Too Well 10-minute versions to get to work. And there are some days where I feel like, I could definitely do that. Maybe not on the way there. Might be a little bit too melancholy for the way there, but definitely on the way home, for sure. Do you have any other thoughts about?
I don't think so. I mean, I really liked the film, the short film, with the exception of those few things that we mentioned. But I think it tells a really good story, and it really gives you a visual to like all the things that she's written about in other songs on the album too, like The Moment I Knew and I Bet You Think About Me, stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, it is a great song.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yes. I will admit, I have not listened to the sad girl autumn version.
I think I've heard it like once, maybe.
Whatever. I have not listened to that one, just because I'm like, it already sounds pretty sad girl autumn to me. So I don't know how different it would be.
Yeah.
But I think that's all. I think that's the end of our discussion. This has been a long time coming.
Yes.
And I think we've easily covered an hour for sure.
Yeah.
So like I said, if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for being here. If you like this episode, you can catch us back here again in the next few weeks, and we're gonna go live on Instagram over at Your Geeky Girlfriend over on Instagram for our SwifTea series. And sometimes we play games, sometimes we just talk about random things. Like we still have to do an episode about the Eras Tour experience and all of that too sometime. But if you are watching this on, like, I will be posting a link in my Instagram story as well. So if you're already a follower there, you can check that link and it'll bring you right to this video, because this was a YouTube exclusive. So thank you all so much who are here on YouTube, and you can share this video, you can like this video, and let me know and let us know what your thoughts are in the comments. And thank you all so much for being here, and I will see you guys next time. And thank you to my special guest, as always, for providing your thoughts about all things Tay.
Thanks for inviting me, as always.
Of course. We will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.